will pick up where we left off on testimony, and so members, we have a number of folks that want to testify on Senate Bill 25, and so we'll start calling those right now. The chair calls Travis McCormick, Rachel Naylor, and Holly Evilsizer. You okay with that? If you would state your name for the record, and you may begin testimony. I think you have to punch that button right there. Oh, no.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Yes. Chairman, members, thanks for the opportunity to testify. My name is Travis McCormick, and I'm testifying for Senate Bill 25 and for Senate Bill 314. I'm here on behalf of Make Texans Healthy Again.
Let me back up for 1 second. So you registered on 25. Is he the only crossover? Okay, so laid out before us is 25.
Okay.
See, I think you're gonna have to wait.
Yeah, no problem.
You're the only one that's is a double, so yeah, you're gonna do 25 now.
Okay, great.
All right.
I'm here testifying for Senate Bill 25 on behalf of Make Texans Healthy Again. We're an advocacy group focused on prioritizing prevention, improving nutrition and fitness, and promoting transparency, affordability, access, and freedom in healthcare and insurance. Thank you, Chairman, for filing SB 25. This bill addresses three major health concerns: insufficient physical activity in schools, lack of nutrition education for doctors and medical students, and food labeling transparency to help Texans make informed choices. When it comes to physical activity in this country, the statistics are staggering. 93% fail key metabolic health markers, 80% fail to meet physical activity guidelines, and as a result, 77% are ineligible for military service. This is a huge problem for the future of our country. Physical activity should never be used as punishment. If anything, kids who are acting out likely need more movement, not less. It's a critical part of a child's development, not a privilege to be taken away. Nutrition education. Poor nutrition drives chronic disease, yet most doctors receive little training in diet's role in health. Equipping physicians with nutrition education can help prevent disease, reduce healthcare costs, and ensure they can advise on lifestyle changes instead of just prescriptions. And food transparency. We've all seen it. The box of cereal sold in the United States with a mile-long ingredients list, while the same product in Europe has just a handful of ingredients. Major food companies are already adjust their ingredients to meet strict standards overseas. There's no reason Texans shouldn't at least have clear warning signs. With better transparency, families can make informed choices, and over time, manufacturers may be encouraged to improve the quality of the ingredients in our food because of market demand. All these provisions move the ball forward for making Texans healthy again, and I urge the committee to support Senate Bill 25. I appreciate your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Members, any questions? Thank you for waiting today, and we'll get with you on 314 here in just a minute. If you would state your name for the record and who you're with, and you may begin.
Yes, I'm Rachel Naylor, Executive Director for Tapered. Thank you, Madam Chairman and members of the Senate Health and Human Service Committee for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Rachel Naylor, and I'm the Executive Director for the Texas Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, which is a mouthful, so we say Tapered. Speaking on behalf of Tapered and the Partnership for a Healthy Texas, a coalition of over 30 public health organizations focused on addressing childhood obesity. I'd also like to add that I recently, as of 3 years ago, used to be a K-12 administrator for a large school district in charge of physical education and health. However, I strongly support Senate Bill 25, introduced by Senator Kohlhorst, as it's a critical step in improving the health and nutrition of Texas. However, I urge this committee to take the bill a step further. We believe we need to focus on prevention as well. We can do this by reinstating the high school health graduation requirement for evidence-based comprehensive health education, one that not only includes nutrition, but also addresses mental health, suicide prevention, cyberbullying, vaping, and personal safety. Since the removal of this requirement in 2009, we've seen rising rates of mental health struggles, substance use, and poor lifestyles, requiring students to graduate with these essential skills and better prepare them to make healthy lifestyle choices before issues become crises, reducing the burden on our medical system and improving public health. Health classes provide a consistent delivery avenue that focuses on healthy lifestyle choices and practical day-to-day application. Additionally, we recommend separating recess from the language in section 28.002.134. As currently written, it could allow recess to be withheld if not directly tied to physical education. Recess is vital for students' physical and social and mental well-being, and it should be an untouchable part of the school day. By making this separation, we ensure recess remains a guaranteed unstructured time, independent of PE. Finally, I recommend strengthening the language around the moderate to vigorous physical activity requirement part of the physical education curriculum. While we appreciate and support the increase in physical education requirements in middle school, we believe it is crucial to also ensure that this requirement cannot be fulfilled creatively by non-physical education courses utilizing the language in Chapter 19 TAC 74.3A1 that states through a variety of settings and instructional arrangements. Physical education should provide structured and intentional active engagement for students to meet these requirements while receiving standard-based physical education curriculum. By strengthening this language, we ensure that students are receiving the benefits of high-quality, purposeful physical education program that directly supports their health and development, and physical education instructors with state-required CPR and fitness assessment training. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration. I respectfully urge you to support Senate Bill 25 with these amendments, as they will enhance the bill's impact and help establish a strong foundation of health for Texans of all ages.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I let you go a little long there, but you've waited all day. I think I saw you this morning.
I appreciate you not stopping me.
Yeah. I saw you in the rotunda this morning, so I was like feeling a little guilty of the red light blinking down there. I was like, she'll finish in just a second, but great input. That's what the process is for, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you would state your name for the record and who you're with.
It's Holly Evil Sizer. It's a scary name to say, I know.
Say that name again. I didn't know how to say it. How?
Evil Sizer.
Evil Sizer.
I thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. I'm Holly Evil Sizer. I'm a registered and licensed dietitian, and I'm here on behalf of the Texas Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. We represent over 7,000 registered and licensed dietitians in the state. I'm also here on behalf of the Partnership for Healthy Texas, like Ms. Naylor described. We are here to express our support of Senate Bill 25 and have some recommendations we would like for you to consider as well, too. The Academy and its members are obviously committed to strengthening food nutrition research, but also ensuring that registered dietitian nutritionists play a central role in the state initiatives and policy making. Science and evidence-based practice are the foundation of our profession, and we work to ensure that the decisions and actions are informed with the best available evidence. We possess the specialized experience and training to address a wide range of factors, which it would encompass the entire food system. We strongly urge the committee consider the following as it relates to the bill. The first, as far as the Texas Nutrition Advisory Committee membership, we would recommend, where it states a metabolic expert, that be a metabolic and nutrition expert with an advanced degree in nutrition, as well as the credentials of registered and licensed in the state of Texas, in order to ensure that there's also a practical and applicable component to the group. We would also like to see that the certification in functional medicine by the licensed physician is from an accredited body, so that that's clarified where that certification comes from, to ensure that the information is accurate and evidence-based. We would also like to recommend that the member representing the Texas Department of Agriculture be from the Food and Nutrition Division with an understanding of school nutrition, as that would highly impact a lot of the things that would come out of this bill. Both the rural and urban members, we love that there's representation from both of those areas. We respectfully ask that they, that was fast, have an applied understanding of their areas.
Sure. And is there anything else you want to add?
I can just really quickly do that.
Yeah, do it really quickly.
Okay.
Only because I saw you in the rotunda at about 8:30 this morning.
Okay. Thank you.
Quick.
Thanks, Rachel. The other thing is we want to consider expanding the scope of the advisory committee, basically to look at the research, stem from the dietary guidelines for Americans and look at additional research more often, but that pertains specifically to Texans, and then develop certain policies that would come out of that research. So a look at everything we have in the state, make sure there's not redundancies, see what we have so that things can be cohesive with accountability and more streamlined messages, not just for schools, but for the whole state of Texas.
Okay, thank you for that. On the advisory committee, we're working really hard to make sure there's no conflict of interest. I think, it's history. You look back in history throughout the FDA and other advisory committees, there seemingly sometimes is a link to potential financial gains. And that has maybe led us to a place that's not so good. So thank you for that. I think we've got some of your written testimony. We'll look at that.
Yes.
Right, thanks. I think this panel is excused. And then the chair will call Steve Amos, Jeffrey Bartow, Nina Miller, and on deck would be Dr. Maria Monge or Monge, Dr. Amy Tyler, Aaron Redden, and Sheila Hemphill. Okay, we'll just start on this end and work our way around. If you would.
Thank you, Senator. My name is Steve Amos. I'm here to speak for Senate Bill 25. I head up the nonprofit health code, and I didn't expect to hear what I heard this morning. So it was at South by Southwest 2013 was their first health track. And we heard the phrase, sitting is the new smoking. We said, what can we do about that? So we began to do programs to get people active and healthy. And since then, we've been able to work in probably 130 Texas counties and all states in 30 countries. But seeing how hard it is to change behavior, and as as a seasoned advertising guy, I know it's very difficult. Well, we've made some great impacts. We've helped people burn way over 2 billion calories. But the latest research, which was shared this morning, which you've shared, 77% of our youth unfit to serve, yes, that's a national security issue. But that's a canary in the coal mine for those kids for a long life. So the work you're doing is so critical in helping evening the playing field when it comes to active lifestyles and nutrition. So thank you.
Thank you. And I failed to ask you, would you state who you're with as well?
I'm with the nonprofit Health Code.
Great, super. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your support. If you would state your name for the record and who you're with.
Yeah, Jeff Bartow with Homestyle Direct. Good afternoon, Senator Kolkhorst and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. My name's Jeff Bartow. As I stated, I'm the CEO of Homestyle Direct. We're a provider of home-delivered meals for Medicaid beneficiaries across Texas. As the committee looks for ideas to make Texas healthy again, I urge you to consider requiring enhanced nutritional standards for home-delivered meals in senior populations. Currently, there are minimal nutritional standards for meals provided to those with chronic disease, mostly elderly Medicaid beneficiaries. Proper nutrition is a cornerstone of health, good health, as we've established here today, particularly for seniors and individuals with medical conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, and kidney disease. Recent studies show that medically tailored meals or therapeutic meal options can improve health outcomes, reduce hospitalizations, and allow more Texans to remain independent, living at home instead of in a costly nursing facility. If this committee were to take proactive steps to ensure Medicaid-funded home-delivered meals met clear dietitian-approved nutritional standards, studies show that you can reduce hospitalizations by 50%, have 72% fewer nursing home admissions, and lower healthcare costs overall by up to as much as 28% for these vulnerable populations. Madam Chair, if the committee wants to move the needle to improve public health, lower healthcare costs, and ensure its most vulnerable populations receive the healthy nutrition they need, you will consider making medically tailored or therapeutic nutrition a key part of this critical legislation. Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for being here. Excellent points. We appreciate it. Any questions, members? If not, Ms. Miller?
My name is Nina Miller. I'm with Good Food Fighter. In the 1970s, my mother instructed me to never eat anything with hydrogenated oils because they were bad for your health. Almost 50 years later, in 2018, the FDA finally banned them. There was just too much data to ignore, so they acknowledged that these fats were responsible for about 40,000 heart disease deaths each year. And yet, they still allowed companies a grace period in which to sell off their inventory in order to not harm corporate profits. A year later, I looked at the ingredient list on a cake at a local grocer. It contained hydrogenated oils, as well as many, many, many other ingredients on Senator Hughes' list of toxins. These are in kids' foods everywhere. Why is that? Can we do better? When my son was little, I saw parents everywhere giving their kids extremely toxic food, thinking it was safe. Most parents, even if they're well-educated and can afford the highest quality food, believe that if it's on the grocery shelf, it must be safe. In order to better educate parents, I became a health and wellness coach, but it shouldn't be this hard to properly feed your kids. I'm also a member of the School Health Advisory Council, the SHAC, which makes recommendations to the AISD Board of Trustees on health-related matters involving kids. In this capacity, I met with the executive chef for AISD and learned that she only has $3.14 per kid per meal and is constrained by a labyrinth of state and federal regulations which don't make the meals any healthier. What's worse, to survive financially, the meal program is forced to sell sugary drinks and ultra-processed snacks to bring in needed funds. Can we do better? 2 of my son's young friends have already been diagnosed with diabetes. We need to do better. We need to educate parents, teachers, doctors, and principals and get food manufacturers to create healthier products. Thank you, Senator Colkhurst, for this vitally important bill.
Thank you for your testimony and well stated. We're going to keep working on this, but those are sobering statistics. Members, any questions? Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And if you're testifying on 314, we'll get to it in just a moment. The chair calls Dr. Maria, and I'm sorry if it's Monji or Mong.
Doing great. Monge.
Monge, I was close. Amy Tyler, Dr. Tyler, and Aaron Radin or Radin. And then Sheila Hemphill as well. So if I have not, you can come up, Sheila. If I have not called your name, we do not have you registered on Senate Bill 25. That would be the end of our panel. So I guess that would be it.
Okay. Oh,
You may start.
thank you.
Dr. Monge.
Good afternoon. Oh,
I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. It's fine. I'm Dr. Maria Monge. I'm a physician in Austin, and I'm here representing the Texas Medical Association and the Texas Pediatric Society. Thank you for the opportunity to come and testify in support of the bill. I want to say that we support the bill promoting healthier living, reducing chronic disease in Texas. As a mother, I also appreciate the shared focus on improving the health and lives of our children. As we've heard multiple people state, that is really where our future is. We see every day in our hospitals and our clinics, people's lives that are impacted by their diet, their activity levels. And the other thing that we see as a pediatrician myself is that those habits start when they are little. So we need to be there when they are small, getting them onto the correct path. We applaud the increase in physical activity requirements, as we've heard from many other folks today, as we know that almost all of our Texas children do not get the recommended amount of daily exercise. We also agree with not keeping kids out of PE and recess for punishment. We commend the Texas Nutrition Advisory Committee's charge to study the role ultra-processed foods have in chronic health conditions, given that on average, more than half of daily intake is comprised of these. I would also like to encourage stronger physician representation on it. I will tell you that I have colleagues across the state who are interested and excited by the evidence that's coming out in nutrition, and we're talking from fetal life, before birth, all the way up, pediatrics, geriatrics. We have physicians interested in all of these stages, and I think that that could lend an additional voice to the committee and really try to amplify the message that starts early, like before birth, right? So that's kind of where we're thinking that some additional physician representation would be helpful.
Is that it?
Thank you. There's
10 seconds. I'm going to ask the question because
Please.
I kind of read through your thing very quickly, and I know usually doctors, I've always heard cookbook medicine, don't tell us how to practice medicine, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I carried the 39-week bill that said you really can't do voluntary C-sections before the 39th week for Medicaid, and it's been great. It was a groundbreaking legislation way back when I was in the House, because I read medical journals sometimes, and I saw that we were actually trimming IQs, and we were having developmental issues because we were just, I don't know, we were inducing before the 39th week for convenience. So there are trends that happen. And so one of the trends that I've become very aware of is, and it was never a trend because we don't teach nutritional education in med schools. I kind of read through here, you're like, oh, leave flexibility to our med schools. They've had plenty of time to do it. I'm not seeing it, so what say you?
So I can't speak for each medical school, obviously, but we did do a search of all of the publicly available curricula, and every medical school in the state actually offers nutritional education at present. I can't tell you what each one is.
Well, one of them was culinary cooking, I think, so. Culinary medicine, I'm not sure that kind of cuts the, I don't know. We'll find out.
I mean, culinary medicine is actually one of that's like the food is medicine, right? It's teaching people to actually use the food in their area to cook nutritious meals without additives. And so we actually have seen some really valuable benefits to the communities, to the point that we're trying to get local and fresh produce into places where people are going, maybe to your local food banks. It's really been a push from the physician side to get that.
Well, we'll work with the med schools, and I think, Texas can really lead on this in a robust way. What I understood from the interim hearings is that because it's not tested, that's why it's not pushed. And so the national standardized testing does not really cover this. And so we kind of do this even in our own STAR test in our public schools. If it's not tested, we don't teach it because we don't have time, but we can work through that. Last question for you is the CME portion. What are your thoughts on that?
So I have a little bias because I deal in nutrition every day, adolescent medicine, so I talk about nutrition all day long. And so we agree that physicians need ongoing education in nutrition. Not all physicians in the state who are boarded actually give dietary counsel to their patients in an ongoing way. But what I will tell you, I also chair the Medical Education Committee for the Texas Pediatric Society. The most attended talks that we have every year are the ones on nutrition. They want the science, they want what's going on. So I think there's a lot of enthusiasm for continuing education. And I would also say we would encourage all healthcare professionals to really have ongoing continuing education in this space because it's so important to health.
Yeah, I think it's on your notes, does a radiologist, need CME on nutrition? I might argue that in that they're doing scans and different things, and, if they're seeing obesity or some liver issues or stuff, I think that it will really apply more to some functional medicine practices that we need to get to as a whole in our country.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I really do think that physicians are eager for it, and that's what we see. It may not be what folks hear or perceive, but truly, as putting stuff together for physicians, we can't get enough. This coming session, we have 5 hours of CME just dedicated to nutrition, with a lot of it being kind of the stuff that is not talked about very much and that we certainly weren't in the textbooks.
Yeah, great, super. We'll work with y'all.
Great.
You know, I remember when we were doing reading academies and math academies, and sometimes PE teachers have to take those, and, you know, there were pushback on that. But, you know, again, if you have a child in school and you're working with them, there's been that holistic approach. So as we work through this, we'll certainly listen. But super excited about this and glad that TMA is on board. Thank you. Thank you for waiting today. I think, Erin, you're next.
Sure.
Okay, great.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, I'm Erin Radin here today on behalf of the Consumer Brands Association to share our concerns with SB 25. The consumer packaged goods industry is a force for good in Texas, supporting 1.8 million jobs, over $111 billion in total income, and contributing $196.8 billion to Texas's GDP. We want to thank you for bringing forward these important issues and make it clear that Consumer Brands members are committed to a constructive conversation on food ingredients and transparency, but there are logistical challenges to implementation as the bill is currently drafted. The regulation of food ingredients and packaging should be uniformly addressed at the federal level, and we are pleased to be working closely with Secretary Kennedy, Secretary Rollins, and presumptive FDA Director Dr. McCarry to meet President Trump's goal to make America healthy again. The work contemplated for the Texas Nutrition Advisory Committee can and should be accomplished by President Trump's newly created MAHA Commission, and we look forward to engaging in that process. Consumer Brands Association is dedicated to increasing consumer transparency as evidenced by our Facts Up Front program, a voluntary program that presents key nutritional information on the front of packaging, facilitating quick assessment by consumers. Additionally, the industry has introduced Smart Label, allowing consumers to access detailed nutritional information via QR codes. We are concerned that the labeling provisions as written will increase consumer costs and confusion. For example, it takes an average of 3 years to make a major labeling change across a portfolio of products, and anything short of that will result in millions of dollars of lost packaging. The term food ingredient is too broad. Nearly all packaged foods will require a label, and the potential litigation costs are in the tens of millions of dollars a year, as we have seen under California's Prop 65 labeling program. All of this will result in increased costs to consumers when families in Texas are already dealing with very real inflationary pressures. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to continuing these conversations.
Thank you so much for coming, members. Any questions? We're working on a sub with a runway and some changes, so look forward to working with you.
Absolutely, and we really are committed to being here and working on it. Somebody had to come up today and mention some of these concerns, and I drew, I don't know, is it the short straw or the long straw? But we really are committed to working through this process with you.
Yeah, I do, you know, informing the consumer is very important, and as they are informed, they'll know better what products they want to buy for their family, and they just don't know now. And so we can get there in a number of different ways, and we look forward to working with y'all and giving a long runway. Yeah. I'm a business person, so I get that, and I actually used to own part of a food company that had its own packaging, and so, you know, we know labeling, and we know how to do all that stuff, so.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any questions? Okay, Sheila Hemphill.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Sheila Hemphill with Texas Right to Know, and I'm for SB 25. And I will look back through my documents. I think we started that back in 2021, being for SB 25. So I appreciate the continued effort in this. The document that you have, you've seen it multiple times in this committee in 2023, and this is the first one for HHS. But this has been around since 2018, and it's especially special today because this case study of Clayton, 12-year-old little boy diagnosed with, seen by 5 specialists, received 11 diagnoses and was on 8 medications. This was his handwriting. When I showed this to school teachers since 2018 and recently with the classroom teachers coming around the Capitol, they said, that's what's in my classroom. Clayton had was suffered from fungus overgrowth, lead poisoning, and nutritional deficiencies. When he was evaluated properly by functional medicine like Dr. Mark Hyman, because this is where I got it from, and he was here today, and so that was incredibly special to know that you've been hearing from Dr. Hyman since 2018. So it's such a great day that we're really seeing some of these things come to forward. In 2 months of cleaning up the physical root causes, this is Clayton's handwriting. This is what's possible when we start cleaning up the environment of our body. Now, I had a lovely serendipitous elevator ride with Dr. Alverson, and I told him I was going to be testifying on this, and he said, hey, while you're at it, see if they will add in the requirements for nutrition medical education coursework, which would be 3 hours. Let's see, what do they call it? Sorry, I just got this in the elevator, so I don't have it to memory. But he was concerned about this, it being CMEs, of just being added more burden. He said, why aren't we attacking it at the education level as a minimum to add in? So here is Dr. Oliverson's, and what was so great is I'm carrying it.
You can finish that sentence.
I'm carrying a lamp because, I had this thing about lighting and about its impact on the schoolrooms. And so he goes, what's the lamp? I said, I have an incandescent bulb, and it's going to a senator's office. It nearly went to yours, but your bulbs got stolen by your receptionist, but that's okay. I said that out loud. I bring incandescent bulbs around. Anyway, so he goes, my wife had migraines, and she started using these screens over her lights. He goes, I got them from my office because he had a staffer with migraines. And I have pictures. It's in Oliver's office, and it's beautiful because it gives the yellow tint and gets away from the white spectrum. In this study, you will see this little boy in a first grade class diagnosed learning disabled and ADHD. He's on the table, under the table, around the chair because of the white fluorescent light bulbs. They changed it full spectrum, put a screen on it, and the little boy asked to go to the front of the room, participates raising his hand, and is reading in 90 days in first grade. This is such a day of hope, and I'm so grateful to you.
Thank you, Sheila. You are.
I wish you'd ask about my diet
in this building. Tell
I wish you'd ask about
Dr.
the diet.
Oliverson.
We'll talk about that in 314.
Yeah, tell Dr. Oliverson, Pillar 4. We've got his bill
thank you.
in there, and I did talk to Dr. Hyman about this example here, and he did treat this child. So he's very humble about that kind of stuff. But that's terrific. We have to be helping our children, and there's a multitude of reasons of why they have certain.
Actually, the back page gives you your list. Food allergies, food dyes, fragrances, mold.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here today. Members, any questions? With no other questions, at this point, that's all we have to testify. Amy Tyler, one more time. Amy Tyler was for the bill. So members, if there is no one else to testify on Senate Bill 25, we are going to leave this bill pending until a committee sub is adopted later. The chair lays out as a matter of pending business the committee substitute for Senate Bill 314. The floor is now open for public testimony. The chair calls Travis McCormick, Steve Amos, and Nina Miller. And then on deck, and the final witnesses are Dr. Monge, and Aaron Radden. And Leslie White, Dr. Leslie White. So right now, Steve Amos, did Steve leave? He was shown for the bill. And Nina Miller? We have you registered for 314? Senate Bill 314?
The school lunches bill.
School lunch bill.
I kind of combine them in my address. Thank you.
Fine, unless you have a question. Okay, if you will.
All right. Thank you, Chairman and members, for the opportunity to testify. My name is Travis McCormick, and I'm again testifying on behalf of Make Texans Healthy Again for Senate Bill 314. Senate Bill 314 is a common sense measure that ensures taxpayer dollars are used to nourish children, not expose them to unnecessary health risks. While this bill doesn't guarantee that every school meal will be truly healthy, it's an important first step towards ensuring school meals are safer and better aligned with public health goals. Red dye number 3, for example, has been banned in cosmetics for over 30 years. And just last month, the FDA revoked its authorization in food and ingested drugs. Potassium bromate has been classified as a carcinogen, and titanium dioxide is a whitening agent used in processed foods and has been banned in Europe over safety concerns. It's important to note that these additives offer no nutritional value. They only exist to extend shelf life, enhance color, and improve texture, all at the expense of children's health, and they have no place in taxpayer-funded meals. America is the greatest country in the world. We lead in innovation, industry, and prosperity. But when it comes to food standards, we're falling behind. Our shelves are stocked with processed products filled with additives, dyes, and preservatives that are banned in other developed nations. This isn't about expanding government regulations, it's about ensuring taxpayer-funded meals meet the highest possible standards for safety and quality. Senate Bill 314 is a step in the right direction, removing harmful additives from school meals without burdening families or restricting consumer choice. We have the opportunity as a state to lead the way in food safety and make sure that children aren't exposed to unnecessary health risks at the lunch table. Thank you. I encourage you to support SB 314 and appreciate your time.
Any questions? Thank you for staying. We appreciate your input there. The chair calls Dr. Monge, Aaron Radden, and Leslie White. I think Dr. White is no longer here. She was shown for Senate Bill 314. Dr. Monge, we'll start with you, and then Aaron.
Hi, I'm still here for the Texas Pediatric Society and the Texas Medical Association, and we are here to support SB 314. We've heard almost all the things that we probably need to know about these additives to know that they're bad. They don't need to be in our food supply. They don't add nutritive value. I certainly, if I had to choose, would not choose them for my own child. And with that said, we also want to make sure that our food is nutritious and available. So really, our support is fervently in favor of all of this. And we just want to emphasize the point that we want to make sure that this doesn't pose access or cost challenges ultimately to the kids who need the meals.
Thank you. Any questions? Good. Thank you. Aaron.
Sure. Madam Chair and members of the committee, I'm Erin Radin here again today on behalf of the Consumer Brands Association to share our concerns with SB 3.
You're kind of the skunk at the garden party right now. I'm kidding you. But go ahead, we're here.
The consumer packaged goods industry is still a really big force for good in Texas, and supporting 108 million jobs, over $111 billion in total income, and contributing $196.8 billion to Texas's GDP. Food safety and protecting the integrity of the food supply is the #1 priority of food and beverage manufacturers. Companies adhere to rigorous, evidence-based safety standards established by the FDA to deliver safe, affordable, and convenient products that consumers depend on every day. Consumer Brands Association believes that changes to the school meals program should occur at the federal level, and that is already in process with President Trump's announcement of the Make America Healthy Again Commission. In addition, we stand ready to work with Secretary Rollins and are already in contact with her office to protect the country's resilient supply chain and ensure all Americans have access to a wide variety of safe, affordable, and convenient product choices. I know that Senator Hughes has indicated that he will be offering substantial amendments, and we look forward to reviewing that new language to provide additional feedback.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? All right, thank you both. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on Senate Bill 314? Hearing none, public testimony is closed, and we will leave this bill pending at this time. Hold on a second. We don't have you registered? Well, come on up, but in the future, you're going to have to make sure you're registered. And then you're going to have to sign, we're going to have to get you registered on this.
I don't know why that happens to me, and this is, anyway.
Okay, well, we didn't have you, okay. If you would state your name for the record.
If you'll make sure she gets one, please. Fast forward to Senator Colcourse. I think you'll recognize. So,
Don't be picking on my Washington County day today.
well, my name is Sheila Hemphill with Texas Right to Know, and I passionately support SB 314. So, what you see in front of you is the State of Texas Ice Cream Company, which is Bluebell, which I love. They have a natural vanilla bean that has about 5 ingredients that I can read. So as I thought, what a great idea to clean up our food supply, that if the legislature wouldn't have to get involved, and the companies just decided it'd be a good idea for them to do it anyway. So I thought, what better place to start with than with our ice cream that we all love. Now, when I went and did a little research on the ice cream, when it came to strawberry toaster pastry, you will see in the highlighted area we have red Lake 40, high fructose corn syrup, titanium dioxide, blue 1, yellow 5, red 3, red 40, yellow 6. You might also notice in blue the natural and artificial flavors. If you look below, those could be castoreum, a substance from sacs near a beaver's anus, and we have carmine, a cochineal extract of natural red 4, which can be sure that there are little powdered bugs therein. And if you go out to the ranch and look under that prickly pear, you're going to see those little bugs, and if you mash them, they're really red. And there you have your natural flavorings in your foods. We also have carrageenan, and we have down here, in my favorite from your office, polysorbate 80. So when you look at what is actually occurring here, this is coming from the National Institute of Health. The inadequacies of much testing and evidence of carcinogenicity, genotoxicity, meaning altering of genes, hypersensitivity, coupled with the fact that dyes do not improve the safety or nutritional quality of foods, indicates that all the currently used dyes should be removed from food supply and replaced. Well, how better than to take our Texas manufacturers of food and products and beverages and have it be their own idea to start removing these products? I think I would just love for you to join with me and see if the Bluebell couldn't lead the way in doing that, because I assure you their natural vanilla bean is absolutely delicious, but it doesn't have carrageenan. And if you look at carrageenan, you can see that it has potential of tumor growth by carrageenans have been reported. Now, polysorbate 80 is a really one we need to be paying attention to with all the uptick of dementia, because this has a capacity to directly impact the human gut microbiome composition, which has the gut-brain problem. So this is another good thing we can get done in Texas with the right leadership and enthusiasm and passion.
Thank you, Sheila. Senator Sparks?
I want to thank you for not hating on the natural vanilla bean, one of my favorites, so thank you.
You want to see if you can get that in your office?
Well, maybe I can. I had a good scoop of ice cream today, so butter pecan for me today.
What do you think about companies doing it on their own? Because of the passion.
I do think that companies will that was the discussion we had today about the market will change. They will change with the market when the consumer starts to demand things, which is a part of the labeling process that then the consumers say to themselves, wait, why isn't this accepted in other countries, which then make them not buy the product, which then makes the producers change the product, and boom, we're healthier.
Senator Miles, I know you're concerned about the school lunch program.
Yes, ma'am.
With the surety, if we can let's get back to 1907 ingredients, which would be eggs, bacon, proteins, milks in those food programs instead of the oats and the grains. I think what you will see in real butter, and I think you see it in me. I used to be the weeping witness, didn't I, for years. I couldn't even talk about it. I was so upset of what was happening. And because of diet changes, I'm better in many aspects. And I'd share my story, and many people who are suffering today with anxiety and PTSD symptoms, I'm saying we can do better.
Thank you, Sheila. It's a great example. And I did say in a speech recently that our grandmothers got it right. And they really did cook with things like butter and lard and different things that we were then told it wasn't good for us, and now we're finding out it was fine. Sheila, we're cutting it off, okay?
With carnivore, we didn't even sunburn that summer. And we sunburned.
Thank you.
I'll end with that.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Members, I think that is our last witness. Sheila, you'll need to make sure you register with our staff. Is there... Who are they? If you're the two witnesses that we called earlier and we didn't hear you didn't hear your name, please join us at the table and state who you're with. If you would state your name, who you're with.
I'm Dr. Dejara Sims with the Texas Association of Naturopathic Doctors.
Okay, great. You may begin, and this is on Senate Bill 314.
Yes, ma'am.
You may begin.
As a naturopathic doctor, we are licensed doctors who help patients understand their nutrition.
Registered.
And we see this in our practice daily. As a naturopathic doctor in Tyler, Texas, I am seeing patients come in, and the MDs are leaning on me to help them understand what's happening with supplementation and diet in the lifestyle of their patients so that we can help them achieve total health. When we talk about supporting removing additives from school lunches, we're talking about supporting our children's future. And as a naturopathic doctor who wants doctors to give the best care, this includes diet and lifestyle. We use drugs and surgery as a last resort, and it does not mean that we can't still do those things, but we have to start getting to the root cause. And when we talk about root cause medicine, it is diet and lifestyle. And what better way to do that than starting with our children? Because they will grow up understanding the nutrition, and they will make better health choices in their life. And this will decrease the chronic disease progression that we have and we see. I'm supporting Senator Hughes because I'm from Tyler, Texas. I'm supporting all of Texas being healthy. And I think that if we start now doing making these little steps, we can put these bills forward to make bigger steps in changing the diet of our patients and your constituents. Thank you.
I have a quick question. Your ending statement there is we can do little things, and in the end, we'll end up in a better place. You believe that?
I do think the small steps will lead to bigger steps. And just as a naturopathic doctor, who of you even know who we are? And I have a doctor in Tyler that believed in my degree because I'm licensed in California. We're licensed in different states, and they were like, we need this integrative approach in our clinic. So to do that, they hired me, and I see their patients, and we take an hour. We go over food journals, and I tell them what they should eat and how to eat better. And our clinic is exploding because people want that medicine.
See, and I want to say, doctor, that is something I'm seeing too with our feedback. Aaron just told me that while we were on the Senate floor, and then we were on the House floor, and then we're back to the Senate floor today. We've had a long day. That we received so many messages in the office from people watching this hearing, so many mothers that called and said, thank y'all for discussing this. Thank you for bringing this up, because I know that it's important. I'm glad y'all came, and I'm sorry we missed you when we called your name. And so welcome, and thank you for being here today. If you would state your name for the record, who you're with, and you may begin.
Okay, sure. My name is Dr. Andrea Patan. I'm also a naturopathic doctor with the Texas Association of Naturopathic Doctors. And so I am in support of this bill, 314. I also have a background in genetics and clinical genetics. And so I see how not only the food additives and nutrition affects health, but how it's also causing a lot of these the biochemistry of it, all the science that we're talking about. There is a need to have the education there, and and how it creates this chronic health condition in many of the people, many of our children. It starts there. And so since they don't have a voice for themselves in order to speak and know what they're doing as far as what they're eating, it falls to the people who can do something about this. And a lot of times with the children that I've seen, they're coming in with the ADHD, they're coming in with all these behavioral issues and some neurological issues. And the first thing we go to for us treating the root cause is just changing the diet. That's the number one thing that we look at. And we're educating the parents, we're educating the children on how to read the labels and what these things are doing. And so when they're removing a lot of these toxicants and these additives that have been in these foods, they're seeing the difference. They're seeing this calming effect already. This is just a simple thing, just a matter of food and getting the poisons out. And so that's why we're in support of this. And I thank you that y'all are able to hear me today. I drove in from Houston here this week, so Boris Miles, I'm one of your constituents. So I thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank y'all for both driving so far, and we appreciate your input today. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on Senate Bill 314, the committee substitute for Senate Bill 3?
He has a question.
Nope.
Okay, members. Pardon me? Yeah. Oh, Senator Miles. I'm sorry. I was looking down at my paper.
I think I should make it plain and clear that I'm in support of this bill. I'm just concerned that if we don't get in compliance by a certain time, that the free breakfast and free lunch for our kids could be eliminated. I'm in support of the bill.
Yeah.
So make sure when you go home, you let everybody know I'm in support of the
Hear
bill.
that? Yes.
I'm just concerned that if we don't have a backup in compliance and getting people where we need to be,
Yeah.
then we can lose our free lunch and our free breakfast. And that's the only, some of our communities that you know of,
Right.
that's the only meal that our kids get a day.
It's true. I do know in Houston, if you don't mind me saying, that there is, and I believe this is all over the state, federally funded programs, especially during the summer, to allow kids to still have that free breakfast, free lunch. And I don't know all the ins and outs. This is not my area of expertise, but I feel like whoever's on board with that or whoever vendors are part of that, they would also probably be in support of this. And a question that was asked earlier about, is there a way that we could help so that there's not a deficit with some schools that might have a problem getting some of these amendments to the program. There's so many of our health food markets and health food stores who have initiatives and have programs out there that I feel they would want to be a part of this whole initiative and this movement. There's so many people who are in support of something like this because they see the difference. They want to see that longevity of life. They want the quality of life. So it's not even just longevity. We're talking about the quality here. And so that's what we want for our children and for everyone. Okay, thank you.
Outstanding. Again, ladies, doctors, thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
If there's no one else wishing to testify on Senate Bill 314, that will conclude public testimony on the committee substitute to 314, and public testimony is closed. We will leave this bill pending at this time. Senator Miles. No, we're not. We already adopted it. Do we want to adopt it? Are y'all sure? Senator Miles moves the adoption of the committee substitute for Senate Bill 314. Is there objection to adopting the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. We will leave this bill pending at this time. Members, thank you for your time and attention and coming back this afternoon. Is there any other business to come before the committee? With no other business to come before the committee,